Hello, everyone. Today I'll be reviewing Fantastic Four First Steps. I know this review is very late, but I actually saw it the day it came out. But unfortunately, the very next week, like not even a week later, I got mono. So I've been recovering from that ever since and haven't been able to get my review out. So I'm thankful that I'm finally able to do it because I have a lot to say about this movie and I'm super excited to talk about it. And my birthday happened, so I got a mic and a little tripod thing, so that's cool. But yeah, going into this with my expectations, I think that my expectations weren't extremely high. I was definitely excited to a point because, growing up, some of the superhero movies that I watched as a kid were the 2000s Fantastic Four movies, which I loved as a kid. I had the action figures and I thought they were so cool. And rewatching those as an adult, they're not good films, but as a kid, I love them. And when I watch them, I still think they're great, even though I can admit that they're not the best movies, and that's okay. But I still super enjoyed them. So I've always had fond memories of the Fantastic Four. My dad really likes Fantastic Four, so I was excited going into this. One thing that kind of took my excitement away for a bit was that it was the cast, and mainly because I was on the bandwagon of John Krasinski and Emily Blunt being Sue Storm and Reed Richards. Because I mean, who didn't want that? Like that just sounded so cool, and he was in Doctor Strange, and so I thought it was gonna happen. And then when it didn't, even though it was Pedro Pascal, who I like, and he's just great in everything he's in, and Vanessa Kirby, who I haven't seen a lot of what she's done, but I liked her in About Time in the Mission Impossible films, and I think there's something else I'm forgetting, but I still was just disappointed. So that didn't excite me too much. The past few Marvel movies didn't excite me too much, but then Thunderbolts came out, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed that movie and was hopeful for Fantastic Four and hoping that it was going to be good. And I was like, okay, if Thunderbolts is good and Fantastic Four is good, then Marvel might kind of be back and getting in their groove, especially leading up to the new Avengers movie. And I think that this movie is great. I think that it is a great superhero movie from start to finish. I was um, so wrapped up in the story and in the world that this is in, because it doesn't take place in the sacred timeline that the MCU has built. It's in a different Earth and in a different universe. So it's really cool to see what they do with that. I love the world that they're in. It's almost like the Incredibles, or I don't know. My dad said some old show, but I forget what it's called. The Jensens. I don't know, but he was talking about them, and I just love that, like the mixture of like all the new technology and everything's new but everything's still old timey, like it's in the 50s and people dress like that. And that is really really cool to me. So I really just dug that and was just eating up every scene in the movie because it was full with just that old timey look. And so I was loving that, and then I was also loving the characters. I think that all four of these Fantastic Four characters are amazing. I think there isn't one that I would consider a weak point in the movie. I think that all of them, even though, the especially the Thing, but also Johnny Storm, don't get maybe as much time as Reed Richards and Sue Storm, they still have such great characters, and I think the actors do such a good job. I'm blanking on the actor's name for the Thing, but I loved his. He had a lot of humorous parts. I think like he had a lot of kind of one-liners specifically directed toward Johnny, and so I think that that was a lot of what he did, and I liked that. And it was fun to just kind of see the Thing walk around and do his thing, like go get cookies. Like that was just fun. Like I don't know. I just thought that was really cool and harmless. And then Johnny Storm also, there's this running um character plot that he wants to date someone. He wants to date a woman, and then the Silver Surfer shows up and she's a girl, and that creates this really funny, like at first, like I was laughing at the jokes of like them saying that he was flirting with the Silver Surfer or something. And I was like, should I be laughing at this? That's like kind of weird, but it was just really funny, and I think they handled it well because they had already kind of laid that groundwork. But I think there's also a whole other character arc for Johnny Storm throughout this movie that's a lot more than just that humor. And I think that Joseph Quinn does a great job in this role, and I thought it was amazing. And then Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, does an awesome job. I think that his character, you really see like it's so interesting to me. I love his character arc and like his just his character and how he looks at the superheroes as like or sorry, he looks at their superpowers as a mistake. And that's just so fascinating to me because I think anybody else would be jumping up and down that they got superpowers, including in the MCU. Like superheroes would probably love that they have powers, and he's like one of the ones that like wishes he could fix it and looks at it as a mistake and it was his fault. And I think that that's just really cool to dive into that and then see how he acts and moves throughout this movie, um, kind of, almost in a state of fear of like everything could be his next mistake. And I think that, his intelligence that he has is shown really well because of that fear, because of like he's just waiting till he, hopefully doesn't make another mistake. And that was just really well portrayed by Pedro Pascal, and I think really well developed throughout the movie. And I think that the reason why I say Sue Storm for last is because I think she is without doubt the best character, and she was, I think, definitely put in the front. I saw a quote that somebody said that she was the heart of the film, and after seeing it, I completely agree. Vanessa Kirby does such a great job, puts a lot of emotion into this role. Obviously, you see it in the trailers. She's pregnant, they have a baby, and there's the way she gives birth is pretty crazy, pretty intense. There was a couple scenes that were actually quite intense. Like they kind of get right into it, which is something I liked too. Like they didn't really like have a ton of setup. They kind of were like, these people, and then Silver Surfer comes in, something big happens, and then they're off. Like they're gonna go talk to Galactus, and that was like, oh, okay. Like I just sat down. Excuse me. I just sat down. It feels like, and now we're going on this like you know cross space travel stuff to go talk to the big bad guy, which you normally don't see till the end of the movie. So I thought that was super cool. And yeah, there is she gives birth throughout this uh, scene, and it is very intense and I think very well done. And so that was super cool. And I think before I get back to Sue Storm, something else that was done really well is they use each of their powers so well. Like even just for practical things or like in each scene, I feel like it feels like they took the time to think about how they would use their powers here. And so I think that was really cool. But going back to Sue Storm, I think that because she has a child and their child is a major part of this movie, um, you see so much emotion from her and you see just so much passion from her. And yeah, I can't say anything else except like it is true that she is the heart of this movie and she is awesome. So that was super cool. Getting into the story, like I said, it felt very fast paced, which I was totally okay with. I loved that they were moving, and just kind of like going through this plot. And I think that like part of this plot is, you see it in the trailer. Also, I'm trying not to use spoilers until after my ratings, but um, their world is gonna like die. It's gonna be eaten by Galactus, and like that's what they're facing. And I think that they handle that weight extremely well. And I think that it was interesting because Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning just came out, and that was very similar. Of like nuclear, like all the nukes are going off, everybody's gonna die, and like it was a very like somber film with that. And I think that they almost maybe played in that a little too much. And I think this movie kind of did it just right of like no, you feel like that everything they're doing and every choice that they make is either going to save their planet or lose their planet. And I love that tension because you're so focused and you're just watching them the whole time. And I think that that was an amazing part of the movie, and having those stakes be so high, and they really use them, I think, to the best of their ability, and really adds in a lot of just excitement into this movie. But also, like, yeah, what's gonna happen? Like, this is a whole nother universe. Like, anything could happen. This world could be eaten. Like, I think that that was just super cool through and through. And I love this movie. I think that Marvel is definitely trajecting in the right direction. I don't know if trajecting is a word, but going in the right direction for sure. with Thunderbolts, and now this movie. I mean, Fantastic Four. I think this is the best movie they've made since maybe No Way Home, which is crazy. That I mean, I think that was like 4 years ago. So I'm so excited about this movie. I'm excited to see what the characters, how they're used into the future, and yeah, I think that this was such a good time. I got to see it with my family, and my dad's a huge comic book guy like myself, and he read a bunch of original like Fantastic Four comics when he was growing up. Ooh, sorry again, but and so he loved the movie, and so yeah, I think that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and it has a fantastic end credit scene in my opinion, and I'm excited to see what Marvel does next. For my rating, unbiasedly, I think that this movie is probably an 8 or 7.5 out of 10. I think that it's a really good movie. I think that it's not the best superhero movie in the world. I think it's a great superhero movie, but I don't think it's like the best ever. And so I would give it probably an 8 or 7.5 unbiased. Biased, I would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10 just because I feel like we've been left hanging with superhero movies over the past like 5 years, and so like we finally get a good one, and yeah, I just loved it, and I loved watching it in the theaters, and I was just so thankful. When you nowadays when you get a really good superhero movie, you're just even more thankful because it's more rare now. I feel like people have lost the formula of how to make it great, so I'm excited to see what Marvel does into the future. So that is my review of Fantastic Four First Steps. I'm going to get into, the gospel application because I believe that the greatest story of all time, the story and gospel of Jesus Christ, is what all other stories tend to pull from and tend to use things from. And I think you can always find some sort of application into the gospel or the Christian walk of life. And so, my application actually, this one's also pretty easy. It tends to be pretty easy with superhero movies, but there is a lot of themes of there's a couple moments, so again, spoilers, there's a couple moments of sacrifice, which is really cool to see, and obviously that points back to Jesus sacrificing himself for all of us on the cross, and so that was cool to see. And again, another spoiler warning: Sue Storm sacrifices herself, she dies to save her son, and then her son, because he has all these cool random powers, brings her back to life. So she was resurrected, just like how Jesus is resurrected and living. So I was like, oh wow, he did the whole story right there. So that was really cool to see, and yeah, I loved this movie. Loved getting to talk about it. It was very good. I'm really excited for. I think the next Marvel movie is Spider-Man, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes because so much has happened there. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you'll be keeping in tune. I think my next review will be Freakier Friday because I wasn't planning on seeing that, but I saw it with my wife and family, and yeah, I saw it, so I might as well review it. So thank you guys for watching. If you would like to like and subscribe, that would be awesome, and I appreciate you for watching.